Thanks for coming out.
All right, I think we're live. I think this is happening right now. Oh my God. Hey everybody, I'm KevinlyFather. This is Matt Gaetz, Congressman representing Florida. You're not going to be able to hear that. Let me adjust this. The software here just got angry at me, and I'm hoping this is working, and I'm hoping you can hear this. Here we go. Try again. There we go. Oh, he's loud. Let me turn him down. I am so sorry, everyone. You get what you pay for. And if you'd like to pay for this, become a patron, KevinlyFather.com. I'm pointing right now, but my fin is not doing what I want it to do. Here. See where my tongue is indicating? Right up there, KevinlyFather.com. You can send money to me on the Cash App. You can do the PayPal, blah, 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 blah. Here we go, Matt Gaetz.
I'm your man, Matt Gaetz, and we are on hallowed ground for the conservative movement here at Conservative Grounds. Thanks to the amazing team here and all of you, I've come to share a few truths. And I don't give a lick if they're politically correct or not.
He doesn't give a lick.
Some of them won't be. Mask mandates are stupid.
Oh.
Lockdown.
Is he okay? Mask mandates are stupid. High heels are stupid. I'm just going to sit on the curb until someone fixes my high heel because they're stupid.
Down. Mask mandates are stupid.
Stupid.
Lockdowns are deadly.
Okay.
Vaccine passports are a passport to fascism. Critical race theory is racist. The Wuhan Institute of Virology is the birthplace of the Wuhan virus. And this is the one they really don't like. Donald Trump won the 2020 presidential election.
I like it because it makes me laugh because it's not true.
Now, I'm a canceled man in some corners of the internet. I'm a marked man in Congress, sometimes a
I'm a canceled man in some corners of the internet. God, I hope I am too. Some corners of the internet I really don't want to hang out. There's all kinds of things happening on the internet. There's the dark web, there's the Silk Road, there's the, kiddie porn. Oh.
Wanted man by the deep state, but I'm a Florida man, and I am glad to be Nancy Pelosi's worst nightmare in the United States House.
Florida man, please listen. A brain cells what you're missing. Florida man.
So representatives. I'm getting a friendlier reception here than I got with my friend and colleague Marjorie Taylor Greene in the state of California.
Yeah.
They don't seem to like free speech too much there, but there are good Americans that live in some of these blue states, and they need to hear the truth. They need to see that we can animate our America First values.
So I got up and I spoke for 7 minutes. Whoa, I was just there for a second. What happened? Sharky went away.
So that people can live better lives. So, Marjorie and I, we went to the city of Riverside. We rented their center. And then they canceled our contract because they didn't like our views. And then we went to the city of Anaheim. They canceled our contract at the next place. So I figured, well, the one place we could do it is the Riverside City Hall. So we went right to the steps and we showed them what the First Amendment looks like, what free speech looks like, and the right for all of us to assemble. And when I was there at the city, I said that we would not be silenced by some oversoyed city council members in a California city council.
And I said that we would not be silenced unless somebody showed up with a whistle. And they blew that whistle. And then women with poster board started walking around. Then we'd be silenced. Then we'd flee. But we weren't going to be silenced by whatever.
And what I did not know is there is a company called Oversoyed Inc. And they did not take too kindly to me referencing them in my remarks. But I let them know. If big government can't silence us and big tech can't silence us, we will not be silenced by big soy.
Only by whistles.
This is my Florida Man tour. Do we have any Florida men and Florida women out in the crowd?
Dude, you're in Florida.
Who's
ready for some pandering?
been a Florida man?
Who's the best looking audience I've ever seen?
Or a Florida woman for less
Who knows how to whistle? Hold on, we just clap. Just clap. No whistling, please.
than 5 years? Yeah? How about like more than 10? Oh, we got the native crowd here. That's probably why we don't have as many protesters, because they know that my supporters are typically better armed and more respectful than my opponents. We're the same.
That's not a protest when they're armed. That's not. See, that's okay.
Gunshine state, but we're also the gunshine state in Florida, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Gunshine.
There is one Florida man that I am very appreciative of, and that is America's best governor, Ron DeSantis.
Oh, wow. So just one. Just Rob Thomas, Ron DeSantis. Because, there's another Florida man whose face is actually on the bus right behind you. Or the trailer, the horse trailer, whatever that is. So here's a Florida man. So if I were you, I would say there are many Florida men, whom I appreciate. Your dad, also, who's bailed you out of jail when you got the drunk driving charges. So, and made those go away. Not just one, multiple Florida men. I'm sure there's multiple Florida men that I appreciate. Can't think of any off the top of my head, but I'm sure. You know what? There's a lot of football players in Florida who donate a lot of money to charities. I appreciate them.
I remember campaigning with Ron around this state when we
Soy, by the way, is one of the U.S.'s biggest export crops.
Could have held a meeting inside an elevator of our campaign team and still had room for social distancing. But all of Florida saw what I saw in Ron very early. A courageous leader, a military officer, someone who was willing to stand up to the deep state in Washington, D.C., and the bureaucratic state here in Florida, and he stands up to the lion media every single day.
I'm not sure why he's yelling. I don't know if he understands how mics work.
Maybe not in 2024, when I expect we'll be sending Donald Trump back to the White House. But I do believe that one day Ron DeSantis is going to be the president of the United States of America. I just think we all want to enjoy him a good amount here first in Florida so that we can have these great freedoms and showcase them to the nation. But you know how I really know Ron's going to be president and going to do a good job for us? Even the criticisms he gets shows that he's on our side. There's this propaganda organization called Politico, masquerading as a news site, and they sent out a special newsletter to the insiders. And they said, well, word is Ron DeSantis can never be president because the donors don't think he spends enough time with them. And one very powerful donor who didn't give their name said, well, with Ron DeSantis, we don't want to get a porcupine, we want to get a golden retriever. Had the state. Well, I like leaders who aren't lapdogs for the donors and the special interests. I like leaders who fight for us. I like those who hang out in crowds like this and ensure that our movement is not top down. It's not the country club. It's the hunting club. It's good folks like the folks right here. He's the people's governor, and he is a great leader and an inspirational leader for our country.
And I like leaders that don't lose elections after their first term in office. How about guns, everybody? Guns? How you guys feel about guns? Yeah! Woo!
And while we see that inspiration at the state level, I regret to inform you that there is nothing good coming out of Washington, D.C. right now. As we are speaking, the Biden administration...
Well, I mean, everybody in that audience there, if they have children under the age of 18, they're getting $250 a month per child. That's two kids. Let's just say one of them's under the age of 6. They're getting $550 every month. from the federal government. That's Washington, D.C. So they're getting that in a check or directly deposited into their bank account. I think that's good.
Administration is considering lockdown 2.0. If you weren't locked down enough...
Okay, because the federal government can't lock anybody down. The states have that power, sir. What is it you do for a living exactly?
In 2020, if you miss being alone, making your sourdough bread, Joe Biden wants to return us to those days. Maybe Nancy Pelosi could go back to her ice cream cave. How about that?
We call those kitchens. And she had ice cream in her freezer. Her designer ice cream, as Sean Hannity liked to call it, were Dove bars. Now, do I purchase Dove bars? No, I buy the Safeway brand. I am not that highfalutin. But are they designer ice cream bars? Maybe a touch hyperbolic. You scream, I scream, Sean Hannity screams about ice cream.
But these lockdowns are harmful. They make people's jobs illegal. They limit our ambition as a nation. One thing I loved about Trump, he got the economy roaring.
I think a pretty good ambition is being like, hey, let's stop this virus from killing more of us than any country on the planet, including those that are more populated than us, by double and triple even.
And he understood that if people were doing better, if moms and dads had jobs, then families were more secure, then America was more forward-leaning and with...
I see. So if they had jobs and more money was coming into the household, moms and dads, then they would be more secure. So if Biden is sending all of the moms and dads money for their children on a monthly basis, but they're not, that's not more secure. So more money's not more secure. Is that... I'm so confused.
Sleepy Joe. It just sort of seems like America is in a malaise. And if he puts us back into...
Can we get into like a demi-glaze? And maybe some mayonnaise? Veganese even? I'd like America to be partially marinated.
Lockdown, think of the damage that does to kids who can't even go to school and get that social emotional development. I mean, I look at these...
I know, they're all useless now. We've completely ruined a generation. We've got to line them all up and just grind them into some sort of beef and then put them into a glaze. There it is.
These kids now, 3, 4, 5 years old, and they're looking at their parents wearing those masks.
Yeah.
Don't you think 10, 20 years from now...
10 years? What about... will they be foiled in 10 years? What? Who? What? Wait, let's go back and hear about the children. I believe the children are the furniture.
They're looking at their parents wearing those masks.
Yeah.
Don't you think 10, 20 years from now, we're going to be paying the price for the lockdowns we've already had? Because they're not learning the empathy and the social emotional learning.
Oh, if you don't go to school, you don't learn empathy because you're never a bully and then you never... So people who were homeschooled have no empathy for, and they can't socially I'm really trying to find a thread here to reality, and I'm not having luck with it. Guys, if you know anything about what
that we all know comes with reading facial expressions, so they want to push all this pseudo...
Oh, I get it. They can't read facial expressions for the mask. So American kids are dogs in what you're saying. And if we hide our face, then they can't read our emotional reactions, and they will... Again, I lost the thread. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know.
Science on us, but they ignore the very...
Oh, they're throwing pseudoscience on us. They're the ones throwing the pseudoscience with the mask and the facial and the social development. Okay. Now I understand. Now I get it. Woo! Okay, here we go.
Real consequences that we see with this oppressive regime. And we remember what Democrats said. They would use coronavirus to institute their socialist version of America. And we see it before our very eyes.
Wait,
so
who said
I
that?
was glad to stand up against Nancy Pelosi this last week on her mask mandates and let them know in the United States Congress, we will not comply.
By walking over to the Senate.
And I don't think you should comply either.
And let me check my notes.
I mean, think about what they've said about masks. First, Dr. Fauci told us that, that you had to wear, or that a mask was useless. Then
he didn't say it was useless.
We had to wear a mask.
Yes, then you had to wear a mask because the virus came into the community and there was community contraction of the virus, yes.
Then we had to wear 2 masks.
No, he never said we had to wear 2 masks. He was saying that, yes, 2 masks is probably better than 1 because then you've got 2 filters instead of just the 1 filter. Sure, yeah.
Then if we got a vaccine, we didn't have to wear a mask, and now they...
Yeah, after a while, the vaccine, not wearing the mask, and then the Delta variant came out. So that's essentially a new virus. We call it a variant, but what it does, it creates a completely new virus with traits of the old one. All viruses have common RNA. They're all the same thing, essentially. Now, this is a coronavirus. That's a type of virus. It was discovered in 2019, so it became known as COVID-19. Coronavirus ID-19. That's what COVID means. Oh, hi, I'm back. Shark just gave up. Welcome, everyone. Hi, I'm Kevin Lee. Let's move on.
They want us to wear a mask again. I mean, is it just me, or is Dr. Fauci flip-flop more than Charlie Crist?
It's just you. Charlie Crist is a Florida politician and completely irrelevant to this. But yeah, let's bring up something with the locals. Is it just me, or is Dr. Fauci more jammed up than Highway 97? Woo! Woo! Well, Mr. Fauci, you better get off at Lawrence Avenue. Woo-hoo! Yeah! Yeah! Guns. How many of you guys like guns? Guns? Anybody?
I mean, the greatest example of bureaucratic incompetence and desire to control your lives exists in that sniveling twit, Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Sniveling twit. Dr. Anthony Fauci. Winner of the National Medal of Science, awarded to him by a Republican president, served the country. He's served, I believe it's 147 presidents now. Apolitical. Has never endorsed a candidate or another.
And the fact that he's still...
But he's sniveling.
...still has a job shows there's a lot of swamp still left to drain in Washington, D.C.
Well, actually, he's actually advocated draining a lot of swamps in order to get rid of the mosquitoes that cause things like malaria and recently Zika virus in Florida. How about Florida? How many of you got Zika virus? How many of you got Zika virus? How many of your grandchildren are deformed right now because of Zika virus? Raise your hands, everybody. Well, that's thanks to Dr. Sniveling Fauci. That's right. That's right.
And you know what? Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi, they don't give a damn about COVID. And if they did, they would stop the illegal immigration coming across our border with Mexico.
Yeah, the Title 42 is still in effect. Anybody who's not with a child or a child is immediately expelled. Okay? The borders are closed. Right now, hey, we got a pandemic going on. You cannot come in. You're just going back. We don't even care where you go back to. You're not coming in. Oh, welcome to the country. Boop. Would you like a vaccine? We'll give you one. Now, get the hell out. That's what's actually happening at the border right now.
President Trump was right. They're not sending their best. They're sending a lot of COVID. They're sending a lot of fentanyl. And the Biden
It's fentanyl.
administration with immigration, it's like they're worse than Obama. You know, Obama was catch and release. If they got into our country, then they would...
Obama was the deporter in chief.
...be released, and there was no real expectation that they would ever show up for trial. And then Trump...
Of course there was an expectation that was... And a lot of times you don't want to get to trial. You want to solve that before trial ever happens. And most of the time, that's what happens.
...had the stay in Mexico policy, which made a lot of sense. If you have an asylum claim, you wait. If it's approved, that is your entry into our nation. And
and a lot of those refugee asylum seekers or refugees, a lot of them were subject to human rights violations while remaining in Mexico. Because it wasn't under our purview anymore, because America.
Biden now has gone to import and release, not catch and release. He's finding tens of thousands of people in Mexico right now that were there awaiting their claims, and he's bringing them into our country.
Right, because they're our responsibility. They're asylum seekers. This is how law works. I mean, if you're not for law and order, there's nothing I can do for you. I mean, I know you have your problems with the law, and that's just a minor thing. But we can have disagreements.
Ahead of the line, breaking the law.
Breaking the law, breaking the law.
People in the Progressive Caucus 2 nights ago on the floor say that what we really need is
love, sweet love,
automatic citizenship,
automatic weapon. Well, no.
For people who come into our country illegally.
That does sound silly. I'm not sure that actually happened. It could have. There's some wackos. You put 535 people into a group, you're gonna have a few wackos.
We don't need more extended citizenship. We should be ending birthright citizenship by fraud in the United States of America.
Oh. So we should be changing the Constitution. All right.
Cartel leaders.
I don't know why he hates the Constitution so much.
They slip their baby mamas or mamacitas across the border, and then they have the kids that are the next generation of cartel talent, and they have the full trappings of American citizenship. The law would treat them just as American as you and me. Is that right?
There's a fine line between stereotypes and racism. It's like, here's your racism, here's your stereotypes. Matt Gaetz is over that line waiting at the bus stop. He's heading as far away into the racist zone as he possibly can.
No, so
you get your mamacitas, and they're going to have the next generation of cartel overlords, and then they're going to open up taco trucks. Matt Gaetz is morphing into like the MyPillow guy.
We should absolutely reform that system, and we have to stand against this.
I'm just thinking about that. Like Matt Gaetz, apart from saying 10 for 10, has just the most generic accent. There's nothing about Matt Gaetz. He's just bland. He's mayonnaise. He's Mail Gaetz.
This effort by the radical left to change America, not by convincing Americans that their policies are good, but by...
And his neck movement is this, constantly. He's constantly goosenecking everything. Not just by influencing Americans, but by doing other things. I don't even know what they are, but I'm just going to make something up. Critical race theory.
Bringing in people who break the law and then converting them into automatic voters. It is not a coincidence that Democrats are having to bring people in from outside America, because in these cities that Democrats have controlled, life is misery.
Yeah, and it's not a coincidence that Democrats have won the popular vote 8 out of the last 10 elections.
You know, they got autonomous zones. They got more crime. They've got critical race theory. Their people are warring and hate.
There it is, critical race theory. Thank you. I gave you the cue. He can hear me. And I appreciate the fact that he's using some of my input. I feel like I'm valid here. I'm going to adjust the camera just a bit. Okay. No? All right. Yeah, we're good.
Hating each other. They can't keep the lights on. It is deeply concerning that life in blue America is a lot worse.
Really? You're going to talk about keeping the lights on and Texas? Texas? Red Texas? And you're going to talk to us about not keeping the lights on? All right. You might want to have a talk with your friend Teddy about that.
Worse than life in red America. And we should seek that type of joy and patriotism for all of our fellow Americans. We should want everyone to rise as one great nation. But you know what? As I travel around this country, what you should know is that everyone is very envious of the life we get to live as Floridians, aren't they?
I know. You guys have more people in the hospital than anywhere else. 10,000 people in the hospital. Here in California, we've got 10 million more people. We've got half as many people in the hospital with the COVIDs. You guys are kicking it, man. I mean, the hospital pudding, the Jello, the sponge baths. Come on, tell me you don't want to spend time in the hospital. Man, I wish I was in Florida.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
the humidity? But, you know, honestly, it's such a dry humidity.
You've had all the experts say, well, look out for the Delta variant or the Lambda variant. Next is going to be like the Chi Omega variant or the...
Yeah. These are all the sororities he got kicked out of.
Pi Kappa Psi variant.
That I felt a thigh. Use the joke. Go ahead. Go for it. The Tri-Delts.
I got the Florida variant. I got the Freedom variant. It affects the brain.
He said it. That was his. Those are his words.
It got the Chi Omega variant or the Pi Kappa Psi variant. I got the Florida variant. I got the Freedom variant. It affects the brain. It gets you to think for yourself, where you don't just surrender to the truth that they're trying to create and corrupt big media. And speaking of big media, go watch your favorite, news show or your least favorite news show. All the advertisements are big pharma. And it's all the same ad, right? It's people like going through fields of flowers and holding hands with big smiles. And then there's that voiceover. This may cause irritable bowel syndrome.
Well, hold on. You forgot about people on the rooftops. Parties on the rooftops with lights, with Christmas lights strung. That's in every one of the drug commercials. I want that life.
Syndrome, seizures, death, erectile dysfunction, loss of vision. And
Death is always the last one, by the way. On mine, when I did a commercial for a drug, I was the vaginal yeast infection. Is mine on my face. What genital yeast infections? Not specifically vaginal. So I guess it makes sense. I showed the ad to my dad, and he just started laughing. This is what my son has become. He's always encouraging. He's always very supportive. Vaginal yeast infections.
I'm like, man, that was a pimple medication they were selling. Who needed anything else after they said death? But how can you tell me?
No, they say that last. They always list death last if that's one of the possible side effects. Always.
How can you tell me that Big Pharma goes and buys tens of millions of dollars of ads on these news organization sites, and then that doesn't affect their coverage? Are those reasonable questions to ask? Here's what I know. Big Pharma is not your friend. Every single drug that has been developed in the United States of America, you have been a part of paying for. The American taxpayer dollars have gone into the research and development. And then what does Big Pharma do? They take those very same drugs and they sell them for 10 times, 25 times, 100 times more in the United States than they sell them in Canada or some other country that wasn't as involved.
Nope. I'm sorry, but Donald Trump fixed that. As of January 1st of this year, it's most favored. He said it over and over again. You pay $3 for a pill and Germany pays 10 cents. We get to pay 10 cents. That happened because Donald Trump promised that he did it. So don't lie to me, Matt Gaetz. Drugs are cheap now. I mean, right there, the guy on the horse trailer ice cream truck behind you, he said he did it. It's done. Fait accompli.
In their development. Those are America Last policies. That's why I'm glad when Donald Trump was president, Ron DeSantis and I got a deal for Florida where we can import cheap generics from Canada and break that corrupt system that Big
He's talking about young women.
Pharma has a holdover.
Check your notes. What's next, Matt? What else are we going to be enraged by? And what about did I talk about critical race theory? How many of you folks like guns? How many of you folks have a gun right now? Shoot it off. Shoot it into the air. Shoot it into the air, directly into the air.
They own big media. They own the CDC. I mean, did you ever think we'd live in a world where the two entities competing to be the least trustworthy would be CNN and the CDC? And you saw
we're not anywhere close to that world at all.
What CNN did to me. I'm so glad Project Veritas caught a CNN director on tape. For those who didn't see it, a CNN director is busted on a hidden camera saying that they repeatedly propagandized my life and told lies about me because I'm
Nope. You never said any lies were told. They never said that.
effective at stopping the Democrat agenda.
No, they didn't say that you were effective. Those are not the words that they used. They said, what did they say? Headache? Something like that? Hiccup? I think it was, he causes hiccups. You're an annoyance, not effective. Yeah, it turns out it's kind of sad. He left behind 2 kids and a dog, and of course, Cindy, his wife of 30 years. It was hiccups that did it. Hiccups took him out.
I don't sit back like a bunch of those folks in Congress who just stare
Stop
at their
it.
nameplates.
Okay.
I go out and fight. I was the one who led members of Congress to go storm the skiff and jailbreak the truth when they were trying to impeach President Trump. And this week, I was the
Do you remember storming of the skiff?
one knocking on the door of the jail to see what was going on with the January 6th detainees.
Yeah.
Send me some
Let me into the jail, said Matt Gaetz. Patience, buddy. Patience. All good things.
backup in the United States Congress. Now, Ginger and I, we hail from Northwest Florida, the Panhandle, and there's good folks up there. I represent the district that's got one of the highest concentrations of active duty military and veterans in all of America. Military families are the best among us, and they inspire the best within us. We stand for the flag and we kneel in prayer, and nobody would think of doing anything else where I live. And usually when I go on bases, I've been a congressman for 5 years now, usually they say, hey, you know, we could use some more airplanes to work on, or maybe build us a new control tower, hey, maybe a rec center or a gym. But these conversations, they're far more stark today. The number one issue that these young men and women talk to me about today, do not force me, Congressman, to take an experimental vaccine. And look,
It's been studied. It's been studied for more than a year now, and it's administered to more than 1 billion people around the planet. I don't know how long it's going to be experimental, quite honestly. Like, why are we going to keep calling it experimental if 160 million Americans, 1 billion people, 1/7 of the people on the planet have received the Pfizer vaccine?
For people that I have no objection if people choose to take the vaccine, if it's the right decision they make for them. My parents are older, you know, they've had health conditions, so it made more sense for them. They took the vaccine. But for some of these people who have like 8% body fat, who are in their 20s, they face less of a risk from coronavirus than people who are older.
Not with the Delta virus. Half the people in the hospital right now with the Delta virus are under 50. Under 50. Half of the people.
Who are obese, who are comorbid in some way. And
if you're obese, you obviously deserve to die. That's just logic.
Second thing that they talk about is being hunted down and targeted because of their political views. And that could happen to all of us. I mean, we are in a world right now where if you believe that Donald Trump was a great president, if you support America First values, if you're part of a patriotic, positive MAGA army, they try to like drum you out of your job. They try to say that you're a national security threat. You might be a white supremacist or an extremist. And so these patriotic service members are worried that like maybe 5 years ago, they forwarded the wrong joke or liked the wrong photo or shared the wrong meme. And you start to think, I mean, what is the military leadership trying to do if they force out people who are right-leaning in their politics or maybe who are skeptical of vaccine science? It's like they're trying to create this new neo-Marxist force that would not be reflective of our country, and that's what we want in our military. We want a military that is strong enough to win every battle, to vanquish every foe. That's why I was so proud that after Obama decimated our military, Donald Trump rebuilt our military and stood with those military families. I talked to one young man, I will never forget this guy. He said to me, Congressman, my wife has put up with 8 deployments to Afghanistan. She's been raising the kids and she doesn't complain. She knows that's part of her patriotic service to our country. But she told me that if they force me to take an experimental vaccine that could impact our family, that I have to leave the military. And I saw the seriousness in his eyes. I knew he meant it, and I knew he was going to stand with his spouse in that critical decision. And I just thought to myself, this is exactly the type of family that we want contributing to patriotic service through the military. I mean, what is going on with the woke generals at the Pentagon? Did you see me question that General Milley and him respond to me in the House Armed Services Committee?
Yes, we did.
I asked about what, you know, pardon me, I think maybe we should do a little more cyber, a little less CRT. So I asked General Milley about it. He said, oh, well, I've got to understand my white rage. And I said, well, I'm feeling like I might have a little bubble up in me right now having to listen to that crap from you. And then you heard General Lloyd, or Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. You see that guy? Lloyd Austin might be the dumbest person to have ever served in the cabinet for any president in history. Just look at what this guy did before he was the...
Okay, I did find the exact quote from Project Veritas. So the technical director, so technically a director, but a technical director, not a director, Charlie Chester, he's a problem for the Democratic Party. He can cause a lot of hiccups. They didn't say he was so effective. They just said he causes hiccups. So, yeah, I remembered correctly.
The Secretary of Defense. His job was to go and build up a group of people to fight against Assad in Syria. And we gave him $48 million to do it. And after the first skirmish, we said, well, how many fighters you got? He said, well, 4 or 5. And my theory is that if you spend $48 million, you should definitely know if it's 4 or 5. That should not be a question, because that's whether or not, based on my math, it costs you more than $10 million per fighter. Now, I don't know how it is here in Largo, but where I'm from, if they'd have given some good old Boggy Boys $10 million per fighter, they'd have found Assad. But after this glorious task, after this massive failure, this guy gets promoted to be the Secretary of Defense. And I said, well, are you teaching our future?
I'm guessing that Boggy Boys means it's like a derogatory, like a redneck version of Southern Florida. I'm guessing. I don't know. Somebody look up Boggy Boys and then tell me, or don't. It's not going to change my life in any way whatsoever.
Officers, those that would lead troops in battle, this critical race theory nonsense. He said, oh, no, we're not doing it. That. And then my colleague Michael Waltz, who's a Green Beret who serves in Congress, said, well, right here I have the curriculum where you are teaching critical race theory. So I'm going to be introducing amendments forcing every Democrat to take a vote to get critical race theory out of our military, out of our schools, out of our country, and out of our lives.
And unfortunately, we're in the minority, so nothing we do really matters. We can't force any votes at all. I mean, because we lost again. And when Trump came in, we had the House, we had the Senate, we had the presidents, and we lost them all. We lost them all. Guns? How many of you folks like guns?
And it's not because we hate anyone. It's because we love everyone. We don't think that children should be taught because of an immutable...
No, there you go. Children shouldn't be taught.
...trait, that they have a particular grievance or a particular offense or a particular vulnerability to anyone else. Look, I want America to actually beat China in the 21st century. And, you know, last I counted, there's 1 billion of them. The default setting for
It's 1.3 billion.
The human species is literally Han Chinese. And so for America to win, we've all got to be working together.
What? Did he just critical race theory us? The default species for the human race? What did he just say?
You know, last I counted, there's 1 billion of them.
The
default setting for the human species is...
The default setting for the human species...
literally Han Chinese.
Is Han Chinese. That's the default setting for the human species.
And so for America...
He just critical race theoried us.
...to win, we've all got to be working together. We've got to come together as one great American team.
Because they're the default setting? We have to beat them because they're the default setting? Do the Chinese Americans know this?
And we got to get the best mind.
DM the Boggy Boy thing. All right. Well, I guess I'll look at it then since you went to the effort, Marcy. Looking at the Boggy Boy thing. Boggy Boys, Mantu, Pencilson, iHeartRadio. All right. Thank you.
Minds together and the best work ethic together. And we got to go beat China for the sake of the world.
Check your notes. This isn't important enough to just remember.
Now, if China hates America and big media hates America, there's another entity that does, and that's big tech. Who here's been in Facebook? Then
if China hates media and media hates the media and China hates America, then here's another one. Like what? No. You just spoke for like a half an hour how those things definitely are a thing. You don't have to say if there. If would be then. You're supposed to make an if and then statement.
Jail or Twitter purgatory. Oh, now look at the people raising their hand. Ma'am, are you a threat to your community? Do you violate community standards? Certainly that headband would not violate community standards. Anyone else here? Yes. Oh, yes. You absolutely look like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. The Neighborhood Crime Watch would turn you in a heartbeat, right? But they want to control the nature of truth. They want to control what we think and what we...
I appreciate that RSBN's trying to show us to whom he's referring with the headband and the turning it into Neighborhood Watch. Yeah, okay. All right, look at that crowd. There must be dozens of them. Dozens!
See, so they could...
I don't know who's on the door of that. I don't know if that's supposed to be Matt Gaetz. What? See the door right here? I don't know what's going on with that. Hold on. Let's go back. All eyes on MAGA. Yeah, just go. Is this going to work? That's not going to work. How about this one? Is that going to work? That's not going to work. How about this one? No, it's not going to work either. Sorry, I can't get a zoom in on that right now. I mean, I could, but it would take a while. It's not worth it.
Control the nature of truth. They want to control what we think and what we see so they could control how we act and how we behave.
I wanted to control what you guys see, but it's not working right now. So this is interesting, guys. So as some of you know, I'm at the TBD Studios. The TBD Studios is for sale, and so every time somebody comes to look at the studios, I have to take the whole thing down, take the setup down, put it back up again, or whatever. Tomorrow was going to be an open house. The open house has been canceled because of the COVIDs, because of the Delta variant. That's how in tune people are now becoming again. And if that means that more people go out and get vaccinated ASAP, which seems to be what's happening, fantastic. Fan-damn-tastic. And if that means that an open house has to be canceled or postponed because the Delta variant, you can catch the Delta variant in a second. Used to be 15 minutes of exposure. It wasn't. That was wrong. It was. We have cases on video of people getting exposed 20 feet away in 5 minutes or less. Delta variant, you can walk by somebody in a mall and catch it. You can be sitting outside and someone walks by you to the inside and you can catch it. Someone can walk inside a coffee shop. This happened in Sydney. Someone can walk inside the cafe. You come and sit outside the cafe and you never actually contact them. You can catch the Delta variant from them outside. That being said, the Delta variant hopefully will spike and wash. Just like that. Here, spike and here. Just like that. Just like that. This is what Trump would do. Just like that. Up and down. Hopefully it will spike and then wash out like it did in India, like it did in the UK, like it did in Italy, like it did. This is what will happen here. And unfortunately, on the other side of that wash, you're going to have the idiots like Matt Gaetz saying, see, it wasn't that big of a deal. We hit 250,000 cases per day, but it wasn't that big of a deal. We had 5,000 people in hospital. 10,000 people in hospital in Florida, but it wasn't a big deal. It was all overblown.
And that's crazy. So I am not one of these moderate Republicans who thinks you can regulate big tech or you can sue big tech. I will break up big.
You mean like the president? Like your guy? Like Trump? Who's suing big tech? That's exactly what he's doing. He thinks he can sue big tech.
And I'll work with anybody who exists in the United States Congress or the Senate to do it.
Anybody who exists. So you're not willing to work with imaginary Congress people, Matt? Shame on you.
And so you wonder, how do they get away
with... Oh, look, there's the Trump / marionette / doll truck thing. Well, at least Jesus saves. Everybody saves at grocery outlet.
You know, these things that we talk about, they seem so obvious and reasonable for the sake of our people. Why does Big Pharma get to have such a role in our lives? Why does Big Tech...
Well, they're the corporation, and that's the way America's set up, that the corporations have freedom. In fact, they're considered people under the Constitution, and they get to donate or not donate as much money as they want because that's freedom of speech, because money is speech, and that's America. Matt Gaetz. If you have a problem with that, then you want to start addressing maybe that end of things as opposed to I hate Twitter.
Get to own Congress. And the truth is, they got multiple lobbyists for every single member of Congress. And Congress is a fundamentally corrupt organization. And I take no joy in saying that. I take no joy in saying it because you deserve better. The greatest country deserves better. Our founders and the people who came before us to leave us this great country deserve better. But when I got there, one of the first meetings I had was with a member of our leadership. I said, look, I represent the panhandle of Florida. I need to be on the Armed Services Committee to fight for my people, my military. And they said, well, the cost for that committee is $75,000.
They are cutting way down on the cost. I just saw something in the chat saying, where's Marge? Marge, who knows? She might have been doing something else this weekend or whatever. She's got a couple of kids. I'm sure they play soccer or something. They've spent, I think, $175,000 on this America First tour that they're doing, and they've taken in $76,000 or some. It's some huge in the red, quite literally, discrepancy in terms of the finances for these people. So they're losing a ton of money.
$1,000 over the next 10 days to the Political Leadership Fund. And I'm sitting there saying, is anybody here wearing a wire? I mean, it sort of feels like a shakedown. But I'll be honest with you, I did it. I paid the money. I had to go to people in my district. And fortunately, in Destin, there are a lot of wealthy people that helped me meet that objective. But like if you're a congressman from Northwest Arkansas or, rural Mississippi, you just can't go to people to pay those dues. So those people go to the lobbyists and the special interests. And they say, hey, well, if you'll pay these tens of thousands of dollars for me to get on this committee, then I'll be there to be your valet, to do your bidding. And the truth is that these members of Congress, like Charlie Crist, who take hundreds of thousands of dollars from PACs and then come say that doesn't affect their vote, they think you're stupid. They think you're dumb because we all know it affects their vote. And I am proud to stand before you alone as the only Republican in Congress who refuses all donations from federal lobbyists and political action committees. I work for you.
Okay, because last time it was you and Marjorie, and you both said that.
You, not them. I do your bidding, not theirs. And you know what? That scares them, and it should. Because when we get more fighters, more people in Congress, we could actually solve these problems that are so significant to the future of our country and to our ability to win.
Check your notes.
And as Biden is moving at MS-13 across the border, it just seems to me a little odd that they're trying to disarm law-abiding citizens.
Okay, but they're not. And you can still buy guns. You can buy as many guns as you want. That's totally legal. Still, it will be. No, they're not importing MS-13. In fact, anybody coming in across the border without a minor is being turned around, expelled immediately.
You look at this guy who
and when I say immediately, they're offered a COVID test, they're offered a vaccine, and then on your way.
Biden is nominated to be the head of ATF, one of the most radical anti-gun activists in America. And he's written that he doesn't believe that these laws have to change through the Congress, through your elected representatives, that they could just use executive authority to harass gun owners and deprive law-abiding people of their rights. Well, they will find that in Florida, we have a Second Amendment, and we're going to use it, and we're going to keep and bear arms. Especially with everything they're doing to defund the police and make us less safe. Who at the same...
Again, using it to keep, that's good. Bearing the arms, you don't want to do that. So don't say that you're going to bear arms. If you have to in self-defense, you can stand your ground in Florida. That's legal. But he knows the wording.
Same time would defund the police and then disarm people. It's crazy. I was talking to my son.
Nobody's being disarmed, by the way.
About what's going on in Cuba. And he said,
wait,
Matt, like the people.
His son again, Nestor, his kid that he calls his son that isn't his son. Is that what he just said?
Son about.
Yeah.
The police and then disarm people. It's crazy. I was talking to my son about the police and then disarm people. It's crazy. I was talking to my son about what's going on in Cuba. And he said, Matt, like the people are so punished because they don't have any guns. They have no way to fight back when their government takes everything away from them. And I said, well, don't worry, son, you don't live in Cuba anymore. You live in Florida now, and Florida will always embrace our Second Amendment rights, and we will do so proudly. And we do so.
Yeah, because every son of mine calls me by my first name. He calls him Matt. Son. Do any of you call your dad by their first name? I do not. I call him Dad. Or Daddy when I want money.
And in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Cuba who seek freedom and liberty. I believe it's important. They're a border community to our state, and so I am concerned about what's going on in Cuba, and I am even more concerned about what's going on in the United States that makes us look more and more like Cuba. And that's why we've got to fight the socialist agenda. You know, I remember serving in the Florida legislature. We had Republicans and Democrats, and we have real tough debates and disagreements. But at the end of the day, I really did believe in Florida that both sides wanted our state to succeed. They wanted more jobs here, but out of a different strategy on how to do it, want our kids to get smarter and learn, maybe a different idea on execution. But I serve with people in the United States Congress who work every day to diminish America, to make us weaker. The jihad squad does not belong in Congress. And I hope when we take back the majority, we throw Maxine Waters and Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib off their committees like they did my friend and colleague Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Check your notes. Yep.
In Biden's America, we are less physically safe and we are less economically safe.
Same people chide Biden all the time for referring to his notes.
Bidenflation is impacting every family in America, but it's affecting...
Marcy, your sons would never call you dad. It's true.
...middle-class people the most, and people of lesser means, because stuff costs so much more because they keep printing money. And they've zapped America of ambition by paying people to not go to work.
Yeah, I have no ambition. Here I am on a Saturday doing a web show as a shark because I got zero ambition. Idiot.
Crazy is this? I mean, if printing money made your country stronger, Zimbabwe would be a world power. In addition...
It checks the notes again. He doesn't know where he's going from there.
...to the two-tier system that the elites want to build for themselves, they certainly want to build a two-tier justice system for the rest of us in the United States of America. They think it's fine when BLM and Antifa kill dozens of people.
No one thinks that's fine.
And burn this nation to the ground.
Did they burn this nation to the ground? Hold on, let me check. I'm just going to look up above the water. Just going to go up above the water surface and looking around and, oh, good news. America's still there. Whew! I heard it burned to the ground.
But then they won't answer reasonable questions about exculpatory evidence that could affect the January 6th detainees. You know, they
alleged exculpatory evidence that somehow exists in the same realm as Tucker Carlson's UPS package and voter fraud proof.
They would let the bloodthirsty terrorists out of Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, but they won't let people out who've committed misdemeanors that would normally result in release on their own recognizance. There's a reason they're holding people for misdemeanors. It's because they have to maintain the fiction that they're a national security threat. And then we're all extreme. This is the media, the mainstream media, they say this was Matt Gaetz and all of his fellow insurrectionists.
Well, they invaded the Capitol. So...
out at Largo, Florida. The truth is, we're for due process for everybody. We're for civil rights for everybody. But when Kamala Harris is raising money to bail people out from BLM that were burning businesses and killing...
Not the ones that were burning businesses and killing people. But okay, anyway. And again, we live in a country where it's guilty until proven innocent, and the bail amount is set. There's nothing stopping you, Matt, from bailing these people out if bail has been set. Go ahead. Bail them all out, Matt. Put your money where your mouth is.
People, that is certainly far more egregious conduct than misdemeanor trespassing.
None of them are being held. in jail for misdemeanor trespassing. Absolutely zero of them are being held for just misdemeanor trespassing. That is a complete fabrication.
Another thing, what in the hell is the Capitol Police doing setting up an office in Tampa, Florida?
Libby, that's good to know. Wait, what did he say? I was distracted because Libby said something nice. Oh,
police.
boo. Okay, here we go. Check your notes.
Another thing, what in the hell is the Capitol Police?
This is like a Cliff Clavin from Cheers comedy routine. What's up with that? Another thing, we were in the Capitol, Florida.
Police doing setting up an office in Tampa, Florida.
What's up with that?
They couldn't even protect the Capitol in Washington, D.C. And I am a Florida man, so I am an expert on this.
You're also very sweaty, which goes to the whole Florida man thing. That makes sense. Another reason I don't live in Florida.
There is no Capitol in Tampa, Florida. It's not even our state capital. And so I'm increasingly concerned that our federal government and many elements within it are using these exquisite national security authorities to turn against our own people. I will be...
You understand that the FBI has an office in your local town, don't you, Matt? Even if you're in the Panhandle, the FBI, there is a local FBI office somewhere up there. I guarantee it.
Opposed to the Capitol Police.
Which part of your state do you think doesn't fall within the jurisdiction of the federal government exactly? Which part of your state is not part of the Union of States, Matt?
Deciding to have mission creep right down the road in the Sunshine State.
Mission creep. Check your notes. No idea where you're going to go on this one.
For our justice system to have integrity, for our borders to have integrity, our elections must have integrity.
Right.
And by the way, everyone acts like this can't be done. We all know it can be done. We remember when Florida...
We've all done it. Every one of you has committed election fraud at one point or another. Who hasn't harvested a ballot, which is legal in most states, but not in all states?
Florida was the laughingstock of the country for elections. Down there in Broward County, they were cutting open alligators and finding votes for Al Gore. We had the dangling chads and the...
More like alligator. I'm a shark. This is like, I'm very limited in terms of nautical humor.
Dimpled chads. What it takes is...
I once had a dimpled chad. I was during high school, college, and then for about 15 years after that. Experimentation, really. Oh, but those dimples.
Leadership. And in his first week, Ron DeSantis fired the corrupt elections officials in Broward and Palm Beach County. And look, lo and behold, no problem with our elections. We know who wins and loses. We count the ballots as they come in so that they can be validated against the request of an actual human. Not like they do in Fulton County, Georgia, or Wayne County, Michigan, where they just kind of throw hundreds of thousands of them in a pile and kind of move them around. Because the truth is not that at all. That it's very hard to get back an election after it's been stolen. Because once you take polluted ballots and you intermingle those with non-polluted ballots, it's almost impossible to unwind. So we were ready on the front end in Florida. We stopped fraud here, and we can be a model for the rest of the country. And another thing is that it is not racist to require an ID to vote. As my colleague Burgess Owen said, he's an African-American member of Congress from Utah. It's not racist to require an ID to vote. It's racist to assume that any group of people in our country can't get an ID.
Check your notes. Really? You don't have any...
let America fall. And
there's so many connections you could have made off of that. There's no reason to stop and then look down at your notes.
Cannot let Florida fall. We have to remember that there are people all over the world. They're counting on this country overcoming these dark moments with Democrats and socialists. And that's why I'm on this tour, my friends, because I want to share joy and love. I want to...
There's only like two minutes left in this in his diatribe here. Monotribe.
Make sure that we are exchanging a patriotic spirit that will emanate from Florida and that will wake...
Okay, and I don't know what just happened, but it stopped. Did they just get rid of it? Let me jump in.
mental
Oh,
health,
there we go.
it increased all kind of problems. And New Jersey's got the highest COVID death rate per capita in America. So freedom works.
It's for Kathy.
Trusting our people works. We should be able to ask reasonable questions about the institutions in our country that don't work, like Congress and big tech and big pharma.
Moron
If we
tribe.
do those things, I really believe America's best days are ahead. I know you wouldn't be sitting out here on one of the hottest days in Florida if you were not with me on that point. This is a great country.
Yeah.
And in the darkest day,
This is a great country, but on a Saturday, I'm not going to go out in 700-degree weather and 1,400% humidity to watch you. I just not.
days of Valley Forge, George Washington wrote to the Congress, "We are out of food.
And we are low on water, and we need to get everyone vaccinated." That's what George Washington wrote to them at Valley Ford.
And so now we must think." My friends, we are currently out of power in the Congress,
In Texas.
in the Senate, and in the White House.
Right. That is correct. And why? Because of the American people. That's also correct.
But as President Trump...
Where with the judges? Are they? I can never tell where they are in the new studio. I used to have a window where I could see them. They were up above me. I don't know how many judges are here, who it is. I'm completely at a loss. But they're somewhere. They can see me on a feed somewhere. Again, we take down the studio. We put it back together like on a daily basis.
reminded us, we are the elite now. This is the powerful
We have the boats.
movement. We are the powerful people.
But you have no power. You just got done saying you have no power. We have no power because we are the power.
Just like there was a great Tea Party uprising in 2020 or
2020. Yeah, that's when the Tea Party had an uprising. And, you know, right now, the Tea Party dominates Congress. The House, the Senate. What are there, 75 Tea Partiers in the Senate, right? And, of course, they control the presidency. Everybody remember our president, Ms. Michelle Bachmann. So, yeah, Tea Party worked out really, really great for everybody. You know what else? I'm glad that they're up against and keeping the Whig Party in control.
2010, I believe in the upcoming election, you will see the silent majority getting louder every day.
Well, I mean, there's nowhere else to go from that, right?
Because there is no place to run.
Well, there's lots of places to run. There's every district in your state. You can run to the school board, wherever you want.
There's no distant land we will ever to be able to convert to our purposes.
Yeah. Has he rehearsed this? Hold on. Everybody get ready to get jazzed here. America! Beep, yeah! Take it, Matt.
Every day.
America!
Because there is no place to run. There is no distant land we will ever to be able to convert to our purposes.
There's no distant land ever to be converted to our purposes, America! Beep, yeah!
If we fail.
If we fail! America! One more time. One. You take away the soundtrack, it's a little whelming. Let's listen to it one more time without the soundtrack.
Okay.
Yeah. Go.
Because there.
RSBN took the video down, or YouTube took the video down. We were almost done. America! Beep, yeah! There's no we can run it to be in the foreign land. To be fair, woo! America! I was watching the Rumble feed as well. Let's see if we can do anything with that. Rumble!
In Mexico policy, which made a lot of sense. If you
Holy
have an
smokes.
asylum claim, you wait. If it's approved, that is your entry into our nation. And Biden now has gone to
Is this going to work?
No, is increased significantly
What about now?
into other states as
Ah.
from other.
No, it just goes to the live feed. We lost it. We lost the end of the feed. You know what I think I'm going to do, guys, is I think I'm going to have to record these things and then broadcast them afterwards, because what RSBN does is they broadcast these things and they take them down right away. so that they don't get like YouTube at some point will watch it, review it, and then give them a not a copyright strike, but a strike for disinformation, misinformation about vaccines or whatever. And a couple of times there, Matt said, "Don't do the mask, don't follow the mandates, don't take the vaccine," all that nonsense. So we don't get to see that. No, I wasn't recording this. I can't broadcast it. I can broadcast it and record at the same time. Like, this is recorded. This is on YouTube. This will stay on YouTube. But that last minute and a half, we're going to miss that. Sorry. But I do think that it was worth it in order to put the music behind it and then hear it without the music and see that comparison. Really, this is more of a film class than it is a study in politics. But this is fair use. This is how it works. This is an open marketplace of ideas. This is a public square, if you will, right here. This is the public square. And over there, you guys are in the public rectangle. And that is what the forefathers wanted. He says, bring back the shark. Ouch, Eve. Ouch. America, beep, yeah. And to go to the be what your people, to be fair. All right, kids. What time is it, Mr. Wolf? It's 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock over there on the East Coast. You guys should go out and enjoy what's left of a beautiful Saturday. At least it was here in Los Angeles. It's still 5,000 degrees. But we don't have the humidity. Let's just check in. Let's just check in and see what ours been. You know what we should do? Oh, I can't. I was going to say we should check in on OAN and see what they're up to. But we can't right now. Let's see what's happening here. Just check in with the
different resources. Right now, the state is providing all the
about.
resources right now to our federal partners. We're pretty.
Oh, now it's gone. Okay.
Products-based drugs. Roma, Bluff.
Oh, this is previously aired. This isn't live. Let's check out Newsmax. See what they're up to. Newsmax. Beep. Yeah. Okay, so Trump put out a statement today. So over the yesterdays and the day before the yesterdays, the House committee released notes from somebody at the DOJ who listened in to the phone calls where Trump was calling the DOJ saying, "Hey, all I need you guys to do is to tell everyone that the election was corrupt and that me and the Republican Congress people will take it from there." So then Trump put out a statement today saying, like, yeah, that's how election integrity works. Totally. We were doing the opposite of trying to overturn the election. We totally didn't want to overturn the election. We loved that Biden won the election. That's the last thing we wanted to do was overturn the election. And they're just doing some guy sitting at his home behind a camera. Why would we watch that? Why would anybody sit down and watch somebody in their house, obviously during Christmas? Wait a second. What is happening here?
Picking up thousands of troops and a bunch of AR-15s and some tanks and Humvees and helicopters and whatever else, and going over to some desert where we need to protect democracy and fight our enemies. No, it's right here. It's right here in Phoenix, Arizona. It's right here in Washington, D.C. It's right here in Florida and Seattle. It's right there in Chicago.
But where are you?
Chicago.
And why is it Christmas there?
It's where...
Is he in Australia?
It's in the schools. You've got to go to your child's school,
yeah,
drop them off, kiss them goodbye, hand them their lunch, say, be good, I'll see you later. And then you've got to go fight with their principal and their school board and their teacher to make sure that this child that you're sending to learn isn't being indoctrinated by leftist Marxist maniacs.
Oh.
That's the battle. It's unlike any battle we've ever had to fight.
Because your kids are incapable of independent thought. Got it. That makes sense for you. Yeah, sure, Mark K.
But it's a battle that we have to fight. And it's a battle that
we can't hear him?
Is happy to fight.
Yeah, you're not really missing anything. I just wanted to know why it's Christmas there. Maybe it's Christmas there every day. I don't know. I mean, quite frankly, I'm jealous of his studio. He's got a coffee cup right there. I don't have a coffee cup. Why don't I have a coffee cup? Yes, every morning I get a spilling covfefe, and right now I don't want coffee. But I still feel like I should have a coffee cup. If you'd like to send me a cup of coffee, you can do so at KevinlyFather.com. You can become a patron there. You go to the Cash App. Hey guys, get this. If you don't have the Cash App and you live in the United States, get the Cash App. Use that link up in the top, that top corner, up there. Oh, I'm gone. There, that. God! God! That up there. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the top corner where you can use that code to get yourself the Cash App. And then when you use the Cash App, you spend $5, send $5 to me, # Kevinly Father, and it'll give you $5 back. And then you can use the cash debit card that you get. And it's just like buying things out of your bank account, just basically a debit card for your bank account, except that you get discounts on coffee. You get $1 off any coffee in the United States, including Starbucks, your local store, whatever it is. You get $1 off copies, maybe copies too, if you can find somewhere to make copies anymore. Do they even have copy machines at 7-Eleven anymore? Remember you used to go to 7-Eleven, 10 cents, you get a copy? Okay. At Random is talking the weather, so I guess it's time to wrap it up. Is My Pillow guy around somewhere? Someone said, I think it was at Random, said something about the My Pillow guy. Do we have to go check out what's happening with the My Pillow guy? Oh, you know what we should do? Let's go to the Twitters, and we're gonna check in with our friend Aaron Rupert, and we'll see if there's anything there that we should be paying attention to. Just in case you guys didn't see this, everyone should have seen this by now. This is Wisconsin Senator Ronnie Johnson talking about whether or not vaccine should ever be mandatory.
You see that if you have this virus and you spread the virus and you're unvaccinated, you have a chance of better chance of being hospitalized. But I don't think you can mandate someone get vaccinated. I'm pretty sure that we've never done that before, and it was a month ago when both Kamala Harris and the president said, I can't force anyone to do it. But Europe is doing that. Could you ever get behind a vaccine mandate for everybody?
No, not unless there's some incredibly deadly disease.
Okay. So 600,000 Americans, not enough. Not enough. What's this? That's Mark Meadows. Mark Meadows met with some cabinet members today. They still think that President Trump is the president, the current president. They said he's having cabinet meetings. What's going on here?
Which is to prevent outbreak.
Here we go.
We are in this situation.
No context. I don't know what this is.
We are faced with a series of frustrating options because we are not doing what we know works and taking the very best option, which is to prevent outbreaks in the first place by adopting the vaccine. I heard your previous guest. He was trying to undermine the CDC's public health guidance. He was blaming Speaker Pelosi for mask mandates. I didn't hear him tell his constituents, I didn't hear him tell your viewers that the vaccine is safe and that it is the most effective way that we can all get to the other side of this pandemic. I'm frustrated with mask mandates too. I don't want to wear a mask anymore. I don't want to go back into lockdowns. I don't want my kids to be exposed to Delta. We know what works. It's a vaccine.
Congressman, are you...
Okay, that's true. I wonder who the previous guest was. Representative Crawford. I don't know if that was the previous guest. Let's see. Here we go. This is, I believe that COVID is real. This is, Rick Crawford. This is Rick Crawford.
That it's any worse than the...
He's from Arkansas.
Look, we need to understand. I believe that the COVID virus is real. However,
wow. Okay, we're making steps here. Progress.
I don't know that it's any worse than the common cold, and
It is. It's very much worse than the common cold. We do not have 600,000 Americans dying every year from the common cold.
Somehow managed to get through the common cold as we develop over time vaccinations and herd immunity and
there's no vaccination for the common cold. But go on.
Things of this nature. I'm not down.
But by the way, one of the exciting things about the mRNA vaccine, the capability to make virus vaccines with the mRNA, is that we could end up with vaccines for the common cold. And I know, Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies disclosed her cure for the common cold decades ago. Remember that when they said just drink Granny's soup and lay down in bed in 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to be just fine.
downplaying the severity of the pandemic, but we have to learn to live with it.
While I have you here, I do want to move on to infrastructure because
look, we need.
Yep, common cold. So that's what he was saying in response to the guy with the thing in the cold. Mark Meadows, something about a Newsmax staffer, and yeah, so that's old. And then I'll just check in with Ace and see if there's anything we need to update there. And then I'll let you guys get about your day. He caught on this as well. Here's
the Lambda variant. Next is going to. I mean, you know, you've had all the experts say, well, look out for the Delta variant or the Lambda variant. Next is going to be like the Chi Omega variant or the Pi Kappa Psi variant. I got the Florida variant. I got the Freedom variant. It affects the brain. It gets you to think for yourself.
And the only cure is more cowbell.
Or you don't just surrender to the truth that they're trying to create and corrupt big media. And speaking of that,
I'm quite happy with my Christopher Walken there. It sounded good in my headphones. I have no idea what it sounded like to you. More cowbell. That's enough of this guy. Let's go back to Asen here, see if he captured anything else. Asen, it rhymes with Jason. And he is basing his work on science for the people. And yeah, I guess nothing else in that speech was worth his time. Just took my headphones off. It feels good. Let me just take the shark costume off. There we go. Whew, feels much better. All right, kids. I think that's it. For unless somebody has something breaking. Oh, he knows about the Greek alphabet because he was naming off sororities there and fraternities. I'm pretty sure he was a frat boy at some point. Trey says, Liberty, that's what I thought. Lambda may not be as severe as Delta, though. Lambda may not be. It doesn't look like it is. But this variant coming out of Colombia looks to be far more contagious than Delta. I really, really hate to say that. But so far, in a week, it's gone from 0% to 10% of active cases in Florida, where the Delta variant was already dominant. So for it to suddenly take in these inroads, now that might be another reason that suddenly Florida is having huge jumps in the number of cases, biggest ever in a single day, and huge jumps in the number of people hospitalized. Again, 10,000 people hospitalized. So just, God damn it, people, be safe. Do not go to restaurants. Do not go to movies. Go to restaurants. Pick up your food. Go away. Okay? Get the food delivered if you have to eat at a restaurant. Don't go to a movie theater. Don't go to a playhouse. Don't go. Right now, we have to concentrate on everybody getting vaccinated before we get a variant that's a super variant. 10,000 people in the hospital in Florida right now. 10,000 people in a hospital. And to give you an idea, 10,000, to put that in context, is half the number of people at my IKEA on a Saturday. That's a lot of people. Like I have an IKEA. I have no idea what I'm talking about with that joke. All right, guys. You guys have a great afternoon and a super great day and a super great evening if you're in wherever evening is happening, Greenland. And a fantastic Christmas if you're in Australia, like the gentleman we just watched. Okay, guys, I don't think I'll see you tomorrow. I got tennis, I got hockey, I got an open house that's been canceled because of the Delta variant. So I'm not sure what's happening. I don't know. But I know you guys are always happening in my heart. Take care. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. And most importantly, be good to me.